Everyone, this is our Human Resources meeting, and I appreciate everybody adjusting their schedule. Normally it's on Thursdays, but we had some conflicting commitments. It's April 18th, 2023. The time is 11 a.m. I'm calling this meeting to order. In attendance are Commissioners Brooks, Matari, and Duncan. Are there any changes to the agenda? All right, hearing none. Item 1, request for retention and parity increases, Public Defender's Office.
Good morning. Thank you for adding us to this meeting. Pursuant to the memo, I'm seeking a step increase for 4 of the lawyers in our office. The reason for that is that these 4 lawyers, their pay rate is too close to other less experienced lawyers in the office. These are lawyers that have been with the office for a while. They're experienced and they're handling more complex cases in the category where they're placed right now. I'd like them to have a step based on merit, also for parity with their counterparts, and to try to keep continuity in the office. I want you to know that not one of them has talked about leaving, but I think a boost like this would be a great boost to morale, and we ask a lot out of all of our lawyers, but these 4 in particular, we need to stretch them out from their other counterparts. The increase is not huge to the county. I want to do this in addition to whatever the county might choose to do during the budget season, but the cost to the county overall is not huge. I believe I have salary savings to cover this year going forward, and it's not a huge increase to the county in the big picture, but it's a big deal to the people that are doing the work.
I would argue at this point it's not an increase to the county at all because you are state funded at this point.
That's an excellent point.
We're not this year. Well, I mean, salary savings for this year, but next year.
Oh, are you saying that they're funded from sales tax? Is that
No,
what you're saying?
state funded. They're,
So my understanding is FY25 is when they become state funded.
no, aren't we getting a distribution right now?
Yeah, but
Yes.
sales tax, yes.
Yeah.
But it's not, they're not property tax supported.
Correct. Yeah, that's the point I was making. They're not property tax supported at this point. So, all right, questions for Ann?
Nope.
All right, motion?
I move that go ahead, Bill.
I move that we approve the request for retention and parity increases from the public defender.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Oh, aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
Sorry about that, Chief.
All right. Item 2, request for adoption of grade for associate accountant classification. And is this HR?
Yes. Auditor's Office brought forward all of the positions for their accountants. They have all been graded. This would affect 2 people. It would keep one person at the same grade, but it would bring 2 people up a couple of grades. It brings them in at a grade 8. The 2 accounting technicians are currently grade 6.
Okay. So at this point, it's just approving the classification, then the next step will be to approve the finances going forward. Okay. All right, any questions?
Nope. I move that we approve the request for adoption of grade for associate accountant classification.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Item 3, request for increase due to reclassification to the associate accountant's positions. All right, is that?
Yes, so that would be the positions affected by the regrade that you just approved. In February of this year, the clerk and I requested HR to perform a court and ferry analysis of our accounts payable and accounts receivable positions. We have 2 employees that are performing the same job duties yet are at different grades, hence the request for the regrade. This is because we had to update the job descriptions that had not been updated in quite some time. HR's recommendation was to regrade 2 of the 3 employees from a 6 to an 8. And I wanted to emphasize there is no long-term budget increase because of 3 internal promotions our department has had. 3 people have been promoted at a step lower than the person before them. So we have quite a bit of salary savings that is going to cover these long-term.
Okay, great, thank you. Questions? All right, motion?
I move that we approve the request for increase due to reclassification to associate accountant in the auditor's office.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, request for adoption of grade for staff accountant position, which is different than our associate accountant positions, so.
Dorothy Cross again for the record. So this is only going to affect one accountant. There are 3 accountants in this position, but the tax accountant is the only one that has been lower. And by reclassifying it would bring them all to the same grade. So that would move it from a 9 to a 10.
All right, any questions on that? Okay, motion?
I move that we approve the request for adoption of grade for staff accountant position in HR.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Number 5, request for increase due to reclassification of staff accountant.
Brandy Falcon for the record. Once again, this is just requesting the increase to the individual person due to the approval of the regrade for the position. This is our tax accountant. I won't go into too much detail, but this is a very complex position. They communicate with all 45 taxing districts in our county. They liaison with the State Tax Commission. They provide tax training for all of our districts up here in the north. They're very vital, and I think the complexity of the role definitely deserves to be on the same grade as our other staff accountants. And again, budget neutral long term. We will still have about $20,000 in savings even after this is approved.
Sure. And this position hadn't been looked at for quite some time.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, questions? Motion.
I move that we approve the request for increase due to reclassification of staff accountant position in the auditor's office.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you. Item 6, request for adoption of grade for new airport compliance administrator position and HR.
This is a new position that was proposed at the airport after going through the reclass process. This would it would eliminate the administrative assistant position and move the position to a compliance administrator, more accurately reflecting that this position handles the leases and some of the grants out there. It would move it from a grade 6 to a grade 8.
Okay. Questions for Dorothy?
No questions.
All right, motion.
I move that we approve the request for adoption of grade for new airport compliance administrator position.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion carries. And now for the request to promote employee to new position. So, Phil, did you want to handle that? I think HR's handling that, right?
Commissioners, Phil Cummings from the airport, and we have a need to promote a couple of folks out there. The deputy director's position hasn't
So
been.
we'll handle that next. We're just going to do the compliance position right now.
Oh, sorry.
That's
on the wrong
okay.
one.
Right, and so it's the admin position that is
Yes.
being converted to this.
This position actually deals more with the grants and the leasing, which is something that's been lacking for some time, and it needs to get up to speed out there. The airport's been growing considerably here the past 5 years. And that position needs to have more responsibility, authority airport-wise, and trying to get somebody in there to handle those 2 specific things. There's a lot of other administrative oversight this position has, as far as the, some of the accounting done out there. We don't handle a lot of money, but it needs to have that oversight. So I chose to try and elevate this position more to what it accurately reflects.
Okay. And is there, I know we have a new org chart. Is that, do we know what section that's under? Is that under the deputy director one?
No, I think it's under the compliance one.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so this compliance administrator has supervisory role, just like the last one?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Questions, motion?
No questions. Oh, actually, I do have a question. I'm looking at the budget side on this, and I see two different grade and steps on here.
Great question.
Which one are we looking at here?
So HR had asked us to do a projection for.
Brandy, you're going to have to come to a microphone.
Brandy Falcon for the record. HR had asked us to do a projection for a step 4 and a step 5. So thank you for asking. I guess we do need to clarify which one is getting approved.
I think at this point, this person's been doing a lot of this work already, right? In a much lower capacity.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah. So at this point, I mean, I think it would be appropriate to entertain a step 5, but I would like to hear from my co-commissioners.
You've been here longer, Bill.
You're doing the airport, Bruce.
But you've been doing the airport, so I think you have some historical perspective you could share.
Well, I think that we need to have people out there who are competent to the task, and I think in the past that's been lacking, and it's hurt us. So I would be in favor of doing this.
What's your recommendation, Phil?
So we're talking about the airport compliance.
Correct.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Originally, I had put it in for a 9, to try and attract somebody in that has the qualifications and the capability to handle this position. It was reassessed down to an 8, and I would stand on the 8 myself. I think it's more than justified with the requirements under the classification. Dealing with federal grants, and this position will deal more directly with the engineer and with the FAA directly. And we've had some issues with that before. I mean, I've been out there for almost 30 years, and I've seen it too many times. And the airport, like I say, has only gotten bigger and busier. And the way the grants come, the FAA is changing the way they're doing some of their grants. And this position needs to be have that direct communication so we don't falter on grants.
So what would your recommendation be?
For the step, not the grade, but the step. Step 4 would just give this person a very small bump. Step 5 would be over $1.
Actually, Leslie, it's comparing what was in budget. The person who is going to be placed in it is at a grade 5, step 5. So
Oh.
the person would then move to either an 8.4 or an 8.5.
Okay.
When a reclassification is typically done, they usually maintain their step. But the increases are significant, so it's board's discretion.
Okay, so the projection, which has a 6.9, is not accurate.
Is the admin assistant position that is vacant right now, or is it's an individual is receiving higher duty pay for it, but that's
Gotcha.
the position that's going away and being reclassified to the compliance administrator.
It's
Okay,
a little confusing. We were told to do it in 2 pieces. So this position number was budgeted at a 6.9. Internally, the person that I believe they're going to put into this converted position is currently in a different position number.
Sure.
They are
Yes.
still the admin person, which is a grade 5.
Yes.
But on here, we're showing that position number.
Okay, well, and I guess with some well, I'm not sure how the salary savings is going to affect the next item here. So I would say, I would still argue that we should keep this person as step 5.
Is that your recommendation, Phil?
I would recommend that this position is an 8.
Okay, so 2 different things. So
Okay.
you've been, you've been gone a long time.
Yes.
So the way we grade positions, so that's a grade, that used to be an alphabet letter. Okay, used to be A, B, C, Q, whatever, right? Now it's a number. So yes, the position's approved at an 8. So now we have to figure out the matrix, which is brand new since you got here. We have to put what step on the matrix. So I am saying a step 5 because they're already a step 5 in their current position, and I don't want them to lose ground. So
Understand.
that's typically how we handle it in the HR realm. So,
Okay. Yeah, I didn't clarify that with Dorothy. I should have, but that was my fault.
okay, so are we okay with a step 5?
Yeah.
Step 5.
Motion?
I move that we approve the request to promote an employee to the new position at the airport to step 5,
Grade 8.
grade 8.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right. Now, item 8, request for discussion of deputy airport director position. And I would ask that we go into executive session because I think there's some complicated layers and we want to be able to speak to not personalities, but skills and
Yep.
such that with current employees.
I move that we go into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 742061A.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right. Thank you, folks. And hopefully
I move that we exit executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 1A.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Something there. Okay, so I think instead of approving an airport, a deputy director position right now today, that we have the opportunity to take one of the airport duty managers and elevate their duties in general. They're already getting higher duty pay, and then elevate them to an interim director position when our interim airport director is out of town. So is that going to fill all the needs right now until we're doing something permanent? Is that okay?
And we're talking about step 11?
Yes, so I would say that the person that our interim director feels that can step up into that role while he is out of town, that person would maintain a grade 10, step 11 during those 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month period, whatever it turns out to be.
Okay.
So Dave, anything? Okay, so I would entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the deputy director position for a,
No, we don't want to
No.
do that.
okay, you go ahead and make
Yeah.
the motion.
I move that we approve the higher duty pay to step 11 for a airport duty manager to step in as the interim airport director when the existing or current interim airport director has to go out of town.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, all right, very well done. Man, these things get complicated sometimes. Thank you, Phil. All right, public comments. Nothing, nobody. All right, thank you, everyone. It's 11:34, meeting adjourned.